True, true. Yeah, yeah. No, so thank you very much. I think these are very good tip that if you are heading towards be a CTO, it's not only about code and your technology
Mm,
understanding, but you have to understand finance and sales and marketing and everything and see things very holistically. So
yeah.
that's a end goal of somebody to be CTO. But
Mm,
let's talk about the small step a dev take in this journey,
mhm,
because I see when a dev get promoted to a dev lead,
mhm,
his role completely changes. And
yeah.
when he becomes dev manager, which is a manager of manager, his role
Mm,
again changes a lot. And
yeah.
all these steps along the way, he has to change himself.
Right.
What got him to be dev lead is no more true when he will become a dev manager and things like that. And of course,
Yeah.
as we talked about being a CTO, it's everything is different.
Yeah.
So if you can give me some tips for young developers who
Yeah.
are becoming dev lead, and then
Yeah.
second part of the question, what you should change when you become a dev manager?
Yeah. Sure. I think you hit upon this really interesting question, right? Or concept. It's like any developer, right? I mean, they don't tend to be a developer throughout their entire life. I mean, there are some people who love doing it, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Mhm.
But for a lot of people, the way that companies and salaries are structured, right, is that as you grow up, it's almost hierarchical in organization. So you kind of like need to be like a developer, and then you go on to become a senior developer, and then a lead developer, and so on and so forth. And along with that comes things like salary, raises and things like that. And some companies do it really well, so they don't tie it down to look, if you're a developer and if you're really good at it, we're going to
Right.
compensate you based on the kind of value that you actually provide the company. And I think companies in Silicon Valley and in companies in Seattle and so on kind of like do this really well. But if you go look across the world, people are very, very poor with how they actually do these things.
Hmm.
So, I mean, one of my biggest peeves is how sometimes salaries are, people aren't necessarily compensated by what they actually contribute. You could be a developer and and you could contribute really well, and you're probably not compensated by it unless you kind of like move up the chain, right? So there is this book that was written called Peter Principle ages ago.
Hmm.
I think it's the 60s or something like that. It's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek book, I suppose, right? But it's very relevant. It says that people in hierarchical organizations kind of like get promoted until they reach a level of incompetence.
Hmm.
So to your
Hmm.
point, right, you could be a really good developer,
Right.
and then you could get promoted into, eventually into, you could be a senior developer. You get promoted into senior developer, and that's fine. You're still doing really well, and then eventually you kind of like reach up to become a dev manager, and all the skills that you had learned up until now, and all the things that all the things that you're really good at, is no longer going to help you, because in a dev manager role, you're going to start to work with a lot more people, and you're becoming a people manager and so on. And so you start to become incompetent in the role, right?
Mm.
And sometimes we actually struggle to identify the fact that we are actually incompetent, and that kind of like leads us to downfall. So in a way, it's very relevant in this industry, right? Because um, what really happens is, as you pointed out, right? So you start your career as a developer, you become a senior developer, and then as long as you're on the technology stream and you keep cutting code and everything else, you're really good at it. And so once you become a tech lead, a dev lead, whatever you want to call it. So now this is the thing that a lot of people may disagree with. If I look at it myself, right, what is the distinction between like a dev lead and dev manager? I think a dev lead generally focuses on, generally ensures that the development part of a project runs smoothly, right? Um, so they're more focused on the project and the delivery aspect of it. The dev manager, on the other hand, is more focused on the people aspect of the project. That
Mm.
is the kind of like interpretation that I make. And
Sure.
again, your mileage may vary. Every company has their own interpretation of what a dev lead and a dev manager is. And this is
True.
where I'd like to, a dev lead is someone who focuses on delivery of the project. A dev manager focuses more on the people who actually implement the stuff, right?
Right.
So for a lot of people, moving over from the journey of a developer to a dev lead is a lot better for them. because they still kind of like hold on to the technology aspect of things. For them, they are probably the one of the best techies on the team, so they know how everything falls into place. They also need to know the kind of skills that these people need to learn from a dev to a dev lead is more around planning and execution, like estimation and all this. How long does it actually take to do these things? And push back with the product team and saying, look, this cannot be done because of these reasons, and so on and so forth. How do you kind of like negotiate? I said push back, but it's more like a negotiation kind of thing, right? Saying, well, this cannot be done, that can be done. How all these things fit together, making some of the technology choices for the project and things like that. All of that sits within with the dev lead itself. So you kind of like start to hone your skills, and a lot of this comes with experience. So if you are a developer for a very long time and you're watching your own dev leads, it's a lot more easier to learn these skills and do a good job about it.
True.
Good job on it.
Yeah.
A dev manager, on the other hand, is, I think, in my opinion, they should be more focused on the people aspect of things. So this is around, hey, look, what are the how do you set individual goals for people? What are the things that they can actually do? How are they tracking? What are the kind of help that they need? Setting up one-on-one catch-ups with them every week to see how they're going. Having looking after the health of the team itself. All those kind of things kind of like fall into the dev manager's realm, in my opinion. Again, this is where kind of like some of the leadership skills and everything else, people management skills, I should say, come into play. And they need to learn how to actually manage people, identify people who aren't performing well. How do you deal with them? I found that, for a lot of people, a lot of managers, taking up or, sorting out people problems takes a lot of their time and effort. It is like, how do you, how do you resolve conflict in the team? How do you deal with underperforming employees?
Right.
How do you deal with them? These are some of those, these are some of the areas that dev leads may necessarily not want to get involved at all.
Yeah.
There's a bit of reluctance to say, look, I don't want to, this person is a friend of mine. I don't want to get involved with it. We've been working. So, all those kind of things are kind of like eliminated by having someone with the necessary skills to deal with it, in my opinion. Yeah.
True. And I think people who are listening, they should realize that as the role changes, whether they want to do all this or not, right? That's not exactly necessarily you must get promoted. You may be unhappy there. So
I think that's a very valid point that you make, right? I mean, I have had people who come up to me and said, look, I want to apply for this role. And my first question is, that's great that you want to apply for this role. Can you talk about your motivations? Why do you want to actually apply for this role, right? And a lot of times it's always been like, oh, I think, I'm looking for a raise in my salary. And so like, cool, awesome. If you're looking for a raise, let's talk about that. But if you're looking for a change in role, we can actually talk about that. If you want to take on more responsibilities, let's talk about that, right? So what is trying to understand what that motivation is going to really help, right? Because if your motivation is like, look, I want to actually do this role because I think I'm going to earn more money, right? But that's not something that you're passionate about and you're going to enjoy.
True.
It's not going to, you're going to, potentially you may fail in the role because that's not what you're passionate about. Yeah. So I think that trying to understand that is really important. This is where I said like sometimes companies fail in the way that they compensate people, right?
Yes.
So So it's a very valid point that you actually make. You could actually get and a lot of times managers also promote people based on what they have been good at rather than what is needed in the new role that they're going into. This is one of the traps people fall into. I mean, they've been really good in, let's say, as a dev lead, and think this person is so good, I want to reward him. By putting him into making the dev manager, this person is actually going to get a pay increase or something like that. He's moving up the management chain or whatever it is. Let's actually do this. And they go in and they actually fail in that role because they're not cut out for being the dev manager. They probably don't have enough training, and all those kind of things actually contribute to it.
Exactly. In fact, all these good companies, if you see, at least I have experience with Microsoft, they do have a IC path. IC means individual contributor. So you don't
Absolutely.
have to be a manager to make more money or get to the next level.
Yeah.
You can, to the listener, like if you are in a company where the only way for you to go up is to go into management path, and if you don't like it, I think you should leave that company and go to the companies where they really value your skill. And I'm sure Google and other places. I know I just met somebody in Amazon. He's a very, very senior guy, but he's an IC because he's great in what he does. So he don't have to necessarily go in management because he don't want to be. So
Yeah.
people should realize what exactly they want to do and which company to be in. Sometimes small companies, they may not be right fit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the tech companies do it really well.
Mhm.
You mentioned, Microsoft and, Amazon, Google, IBM's, these companies have actually been doing this for a very long time, and they
True.
kind of like recognize this, and they do it really well. Unfortunately, a lot, if you're working in large enterprises and things like that, they don't quite work that way. And,
Yes.
they need to change. They need to evolve eventually, right? Or
True.
they miss out on these kind of like individual contributors who are really good at what they do, but
Right.
they may end up going somewhere else
Yes,
because
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
As you said, that they must change. If they'll not change, they will lose this talent.
yeah.
They will walk away. So Mahesh,
It's a cultural. Sorry, let me. It's also a cultural change, I think.
uh-huh.
I think one, and it'll happen over a period of time. Like I once was struggling to find a certain type of, I suppose, like more like a technical expert in a certain area. So
Mhm.
I did speak to the dev manager who reported into me and said, "Look, it looks like we've given the salary structure and everything else, we'll never be able to get this, like these specialists for the common amount of salary that. So what do you think about hiring someone who's actually getting paid more than you, right?
Mhm.
Is that going to be a problem?" And this person said, "Oh no, I think no, that shouldn't be an issue at all." And I don't mind, if the job needs to get done, we'll hire someone who's getting
Yep.
paid more than me and everything else. And when we eventually found this person and we hired this person, the dev manager was constantly undermining this other person with comments like, "Oh, we're paying you enough money to be able to sort this thing out." And it was
Mm,
becoming so difficult for this other person.
right.
And I think this is where the cultural aspect of this and the people's acceptance and everything else really really matters as well. So
True, true. No, it's a very important point you brought up, and I think that's where the management responsibility comes in to
mm,
have the culture like that and be acceptable. The managers should be accepting that I can have somebody. First of all, not only who's making more money than me, he may be more qualified. Hey, he may be PhD in
yeah,
something, and
that's right,
so
absolutely, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And I think they need to recognize that they bring different skills to the table. And
exactly,
you bring different skills, they bring different skills. You're good at managing these people,
right,
and they are very poor at managing people. That's why you're there. So, and they
true,
are really good, as you said. They're data scientists. They've got like PhDs. They've done postdoc research and things like that, right?
right,
And you're getting them. You're managing them, and they may be
true.
making more. They may be compensated more than you, but that's perfectly okay, right? So.
True, true. Cool. So this is very good. I would like, the for our audience, the takeaway here is having the manager title in your, title is not the important thing. The important thing is do what you like, and
Mm.
hopefully everything else will flow because of that, because of your passion.